Hello from your favorite Grasslands PR team. This week we're back with another reason why these overlooked and underappreciated ecosystems are objectively the best biome. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Nicole. And today, we're going to talk about an animal that's definitely underappreciated in some ways, but also a bit overhyped in other ways.
Oh, I love it. Let's tear down somebody's reputation.
Yes. Do a little bit of both today. We're going to be talking about the hyena.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected. I can't wait. A specific species or as a group?
As a group.
Okay.
Yeah. Editing Nicole here. We realized we forgot to put a content warning on this episode. It's not anything crazy, but we will be diving into the strange world of animal genitalia. So if you listen to this at work on speakerphone or you listen to this with small children, there's a warning for you. It's not until like the last 30 minutes of the episode or so, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Okay, enjoy. So yeah, there's it's a little complicated, and sometimes it's really hard to learn a lot of information about all of the species, but I tried my best, and we will be focusing mainly on one of them just because there is way more research on them. So it's just the nature of the game. But yeah, I want to bust some myths. I want to raise up the other species of hyenas that are out there, and yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to determine once and for all my favorite hyena species.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I have a favorite.
Is the one with the most research the spotted hyena?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like the only one that people know even exists. So I'm glad that you know that there's more than one species of hyena. Do you know how many there are?
Hell no.
If you had to guess, how many do you think there are?
Like 5.
It's very close. There's 4.
Oh, okay. That's fewer than I was expecting you to say, actually.
Yeah.
So it's like a very rare group of animals.
Yes.
I'm very ready to grill you about taxonomy, but I'm going to assume that you're going to talk about that. So
yeah, I know that you like that. So yes, let's just get it out of the way now.
Okay. Let's go.
Each of the 4 species of hyenas are actually in their own genus.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're very distinct from one another genetically, but they do have some morphological characteristics that are very similar to each other, and like some dietary and the way that they hunt and stuff like that that's very similar. And then there's like one that's just completely different. He's his own thing. He does what he wants.
That's going to be your favorite. That's my prediction. Your smile says it all. I'm right. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, you are. They're just so cute.
Uh-huh.
Not that that's a reason to have something as your favorite, but I mean, it is. So
it can totally be a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be logic behind your favorite things, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. But hyenas, they kind of have a bit of a bad rap. They're thought of as like dirty, nasty, stinky scavengers that steal all their food from other predators. And then there's been like in the last like 10 years or so, a lot of not only research, but just like really good PR for hyenas talking about how, oh no, most of their kills are things that they do themselves. They don't just steal. They are highly social, and they live in matriarchal, women-led groups, and they're so smart, and they work together, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm here to tell you...
Is that propaganda?
It is propaganda.
Oh my
All of
God.
that PR is specific not only to just the spotted hyena, but it is also kind of half-truths.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
You saying that it's only the spotted hyena does not surprise me at all because, again, when you say hyenas, nobody's picturing a group of animals. But I'm ready for the half-truths.
Yes.
Let's destroy some reputations.
Fantastic. I will say, Christine Drea is a hyena researcher, and she mentions that any self-respecting carnivore would scavenge if given the opportunity.
I think that that's fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, there's animals whose entire way of existing is to, like, steal food from other animals. That's, like, dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
efficient.
Yes, there you go.
Smart.
Why bother doing all that work of hunting something when you can just steal the lion's food? It's fine.
Yeah, or take leftovers. I mean, that's just, like, want to talk about going green.
Yes.
No waste.
Yeah. Oh, One of my favorite quotes that I kept like stumbling across was about how like fast hyenas eat.
What?
And how much they eat. So they can eat like 25% of their weight in one sitting. And the hyena like clans, the groups of hyenas can be really big. So when they take down an animal, even if it's like a topy gazelle that weighs like almost twice as much as they do, or like a small buffalo, like within just a few minutes, like some research said like 12, 15, somewhere in there, that carcass is literally just like a smear in the grass when the hyenas are done with it.
That's absolutely insane. Because they'll eat the bones too, right?
Yeah.
Not just when they're desperate, but just when they're taking a fresh carcass.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's fresh kills. Like they're not just cleaning up after other people. Like they eat everything.
That is so impressive.
Yeah. And they have an amazing bite force to get that accomplished. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Are we? I want to hang on. I have one question.
Yes.
How intense is the food coma they experience after that sort of level of engorgement?
I mean, probably pretty intense. I will say that, like, it's because hyenas, no matter what the species, they do have a little bit of like a hierarchy going on. Mm-hmm. So the top hyenas are going to eat the most, and then the lower ones in the pack or the clan are going to eat a little bit less. So depends on who you are. If you're top mama hyena, you're probably in a pretty good food coma.
Okay.
But the ones lower on the food chain, probably still a little hungry.
Okay, that's legit.
So, yeah.
But we are ahead of ourselves. Okay, get us back in our starting position.
So, the 4 species of hyena. The spotted hyena, the one that everybody knows. It's the one that's in The Lion King. It's the one that's in every documentary ever about anything to do with Africa. But there's also 3 other ones. There's the striped hyenas. They have stripes.
Wow.
They're very cute. There's the brown hyena. He's brown. Very cute. Very fluffy. The brown hyena, I think, is my favorite in like looks.
Okay.
Because they look just like mobsters.
In what way?
I don't know. It's just
Their face?
a little bit. They always have like kind of a scowl to them, and they're just like very fluffy. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
See, when you say fluffy, I don't picture mobsters.
I know. I know that those words don't seem to make sense, but if you look up at a picture of them, you'll get it.
Shall I, or will
yes,
you?
I will show.
Okay. Oh, okay. They're stout. It looks kind of like the corgi of hyenas, but also a little bearish.
Yes. Yeah. I think they have like a bear face, and I think that's where like the mobster mentality, at least for me, comes from.
Okay.
But yeah, they're just kind of gnarly looking.
What a luxurious coat.
Yeah. And they don't have like the spotted hyena, like they have like that little mane like up top, but otherwise like they have pretty short coats. And I don't know, the brown hyena just looks completely different than that. The striped hyena also has like a fairly short coat with a much larger mane than the spotted hyena. And then the 4th hyena looks nothing like the other ones, and that's the aardwolf.
Oh my God, the aardwolf is a hyena?
Yeah.
What? Mm-hmm. Okay, well now I'm extra not surprised that's your favorite out of them. That's insane. I was going to say that the last one, the brown hyena, if I saw a picture of it, I would not immediately identify that as a hyena.
Yeah.
Neither, I mean, the aardwolf even more so.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, they look way different. Like the other 3 hyenas are very bulky. Like they're kind of like pit bullish in like body shape. They have really big barrel chests, and they have that nice like slope on their back. So the really long front legs and the short back legs, kind of fairly similar body shapes. Just different colored coats and patterns. And then the aardwolf has just the tiniest little face, a big long muzzle, a big long tongue that he uses to eat termites.
Oh, what a good guy.
He's very cute. And he just has a completely different life history. And a big part of the reason for that is because of the evolutionary history behind these guys.
Okay.
And I know you like this stuff, so I wanted to make sure.
So ready. I'm so ready. Wait, can I just say that depending on the picture that I am seeing, sometimes the aardwolf kind of looks like the chihuahua of hyenas.
A little bit, yeah.
He's got a little bit of a chihuahua face, maybe.
Yes.
He's also got stripes, which I think is very confusing.
Yeah, so the striped hyena and the aardwolf, yeah, they look kind of similar. Like the aardwolf is much leaner, and it has like really big ears. The aardwolf is also much, much smaller, which isn't immediately apparent if you're just looking at pictures.
Sure.
The aardwolf only weighs like 30 pounds, and the other ones are 100, 150, even 200 pounds.
Okay.
When you get into like the spotted hyenas, they're by far the biggest, and they can push 200 pounds.
Okay.
So...
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, the striped hyena also looks way more bulky and muscly. Like, the
Yeah.
freaking neck muscles on this thing are
Oh,
intense.
yeah.
Like, this one looks like a hyena.
Yeah. Hyenas, they, at least the 3 what are called skull crushing or bone crushing hyenas. So the spotted, striped, and brown.
Okay.
They're super muscular. They literally will just like bite onto a prey item and just hold on for dear life. Like
Nice.
that's how they kill things. Like,
Nice.
they're endurance hunters. They'll either just run it to exhaustion or they literally just bite onto it and like just wait until it dies. Like,
Incredible.
yeah, it's gnarly. And like I said, the aardwolf, he eats termites, so he doesn't need to be big and scary.
Yeah.
But their evolutionary history is very interesting. Like, I had no idea about any of this stuff. Hyenas originally first evolved in Eurasia about 22 million years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they were living in forests, and they looked a lot more like civets. So kind of like very small, short-legged, tree-dwelling creatures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Civets are kind of elongated like a weasel, right? Or am I
Yes.
picturing the wrong animal?
No, yeah, they
Okay,
are.
cool.
Mhm. And as they kind of moved away from forests and more into grasslands, they became taller and looked more like what we think of a hyena today. Around 15 million years ago, more kind of dog-like hyenas. So they didn't have like the slopey back. They were a little bit more kind of gangly, long-legged hyenas. Were the dominant hyena type. There was feline type hyenas and then like dog-like hyenas.
Okay.
And the dog-like hyenas were extremely successful. They actually spread even into North America.
Whoa.
And were thriving.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a report, studies have found that like cave hyenas, which were absolutely gigantic, were a big part of the reason why humans took so long to get into like Alaska.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But you said that started out like 15 million years ago. So they were in North America for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very cool. And I'm very sad that they're not here anymore.
Yeah,
Wait,
right?
am I?
I'm sad that like smaller hyenas aren't here anymore. I'm okay without dealing with cave hyenas because they were just gigantic.
But like,
And scary.
I don't want to live in caves. Like, they can have the caves.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not a bat biologist, so I'm not, I don't have any stake in the game.
Can you imagine though? Like the sounds that hyenas make, and you like go into a cave and you just hear that like reverberating through the passageways. Like,
Oh, that is some nightmare fuel. I love it. That would be such a good horror premise.
it would though.
Imagine trying to monitor white nose syndrome with cave hyenas.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm okay with them not being here. Personally.
I'm on your side here now. Thank
Okay,
you for
thank you.
enlightening me.
I think I didn't write it down, but I want to say it was about like 3 million years ago where all of the dog-like hyenas went extinct. Climate change, they just couldn't keep up. They all went extinct, except for the aardwolf. And that's why he looks so different. He's from a completely different lineage of hyenas than the other 3.
Oh my God. Wait, my brain must have spaced out. So where geographically did the aardwolf survive?
He survived in Europe and Africa. So
Okay.
he never really went to North America, but some of the other dog-like hyenas did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Other question.
Yes.
The other 3 hyenas, are they considered dog-like or feline-like?
They're cat-like ones.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Okay.
they're the bone crushers. They're the big, bulky, scary ones. And then there's the little dog-like ones that just like prance around and eat termites.
Oh my god. Okay. I was trying to figure out like what was feline about them, and I guess it's skull morphology, probably.
Yeah.
Mammalogists.
Yeah.
They're so obsessed with skulls. Oh my god.
Because, yeah, when we think, at least when I think of cats, I don't really think of, I don't know, bone crushers. But, I mean, tigers are huge, lions are huge, and have very big, bulky jaws. So, like,
Okay.
I get it. But hyenas, as a group, are felines. They are not canines.
Interesting. Are civets feline too?
I believe so.
I'm trying to figure out like how they diverged from other carnivores, I guess, is what my brain is doing. Like, are civets... This is a very interesting topic to me because I guess this is so stupid. I carry with me a longtime grudge against somebody who tried to convince me that foxes were cats.
Oh.
I was like, you don't even study biology, but she was a furry and really felt like foxes were cats spiritually. So
Amazing. Yes, I double checked. Civets are felines.
interesting. Okay, wait, now I have to look up a civet.
They're very cute. I love civets. They are very, they're like elongated and kind of short, but they do have like the big bulky neck, the big
my
head,
God.
like, yeah.
Yeah, what is this freaking stripy one? It looks very raccoon hyena like.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. Like, and this guy, I don't know that I knew this animal existed.
Oh.
Like, there's ones that are purely dark. That's what I was picturing.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, there's some really, really cool civets.
This is a big group of animals.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how diverse civets were.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Unlike
Oh my
hyenas.
God. Yeah. This civet looks like an otter, corgi, raccoon, hyena.
Amazing.
It looks like somebody could have designed this as a like fantasy creature. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
an OC.
It's somebody's persona that they invented, and it turns out it exists in real life.
I love it. I love it. No, yeah, civets are very, very cool. A lot of them, like I said, are more like forest dwelling, but there's definitely some grassland ones. So
It's so interesting that they're more related to felines than like mustelids or something.
yeah, for sure. And I love that. Yeah, hyenas like are cats. I don't know, because you look at them, and I just think dog.
Right. But it's like, I guess, purely superficial appearances that make that feel true.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess behavioral too, because I think so much of culture, especially like pop culture, identifies something feline by its behaviors.
Yeah.
Like when we attribute non-animal things to being feline, like, I don't know, people or like what else do people associate with cats? I don't know. But you know, like I feel like
you think of like grace and like,
or like really deliberate movements or I guess like personality traits too, like, you know, maybe being less trusting at first or like, you know, so it's very much like a vibe that they're exuding and not like physical characteristics necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The way that we perceive them. That's so interesting. Oh, I love this. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. This like tickled my brain cells.
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh gosh, that's great.
What?
Just tickled my brain cells. It got me. But yeah, we have. It's fascinating to me that all of the 4 hyenas that we have left are so distinct. Like even to have their own like genus, so they're distinct genetically, but they're also very distinct in like their behaviors and stuff, which is never ever talked about because people only talk about the spotted hyena.
Disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing. And that's like one of the things that originally motivated me to want to do this episode. Because I knew that there, you know, was 4 different hyena species, but we only ever talked about one of them.
Were you also motivated by the sex stuff?
I mean, it is. We can't not talk about it. So I do have a page of notes just on the sex stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's fascinating. I was teaching one of our like non-huge biology nerd friends about it last night, and she was flabbergasted. So I forget that people don't know these things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm surprised, like, even though I know she doesn't have a degree in biology or whatever, like, I'm still surprised that she didn't know this.
Yeah. But there's stuff that I learned too, like with the sex stuff. But anyways, sex stuff, we'll save it for last. You got to stick around if you want to learn more about hyena sex. That's a little teaser for you.
Put that in the beginning. Just hook them in real good. Okay.
Yes. But let's just get the spotted hyena out of the way.
Okay.
Because they are really cool. Like, I'm not saying that they're not cool.
Yeah.
But it frustrates me that the other ones are not talked about.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's talk about the one that's talked about. I don't know why that's kind of move past condescending, but yeah.
But yeah, spotted hyenas are highly precocial when they're born, which is very unique. The other hyenas don't have that high of a precociality to them. We talked about this last episode. If a baby is precocial, that means that it's like very well developed versus like a little baby like robin being naked and ugly and hairless. Hairless? They're always hairless. Featherless.
There you go.
Or like, like baby kittens are, very eyes closed, ears closed, pretty helpless. Baby spotted hyenas not only have their eyes and ears open, but they even have teeth.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, babies.
Yeah. And like, I mean, poor mom, but
I mean, like, what do you mean poor mom?
They gotta still suckle.
Oh, I see. I forget about boobs. Okay.
Yep. And they actually, even though they're very developed when they're born, they will continue nursing off of mom for like a year or more.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Which is bizarre, because usually one of the benefits of having precocial young is that they're going to be independent quicker.
Right.
But that's not the case with spotted hyenas.
Very interesting. I guess I assumed immediately that them having teeth meant that they were ready to snarf down meat.
Yeah.
Wow.
They are big mama's babies and hang out with her for as long as possible.
Wow.
If she has another litter, obviously she's going to wean them a little bit quicker, but they will continue nursing for at least a year. It's going to be probably 18 or more months before they make their first kill, and 3 years before they even think about dispersing to another clan. So they hang out with mom for a long time. And a lot of the reason for that is these animals are extremely social. So mom is teaching her babies, how to navigate that social society, because it's very nuanced. There's a lot of like really subtle things that they do, but then there's a lot of, the laughing noises and the cackling and the snarls and more obvious signals. But all of the spotted hyena society in particular is based off of mom. So if your mom is high ranking in the clan, you will also be high ranking. You're going to be right underneath her. If your mom is low ranking in the clan, you are also going to be just right underneath her. It's extremely rare for a hyena to move up or down.
Interesting.
In their societies.
So they have like, I don't know, it's striking me how different that is from so many other hierarchical animal systems.
Yeah, usually it's the biggest, the meanest, the nastiest, the loudest will be the top. Yeah. And it's not so with hyenas. It's very much based on mom and very much more subtle social things going on versus just being the loudest or the meanest.
Sure.
A lot of primate societies are very similar to this. So hyena society has a lot more in common with like primate society than it does like other cats or dogs or what have you, other social carnivores.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's very, very unique. And I'm not going to say that I'm an expert by any means, but I did go on a lot of rabbit holes and I watched like 3 different documentaries.
Oh my God.
Because it's really cool. Like I love social animals. And I found one article that mentioned only like 10% of carnivores are social, which makes sense, but was also very shocking to me because we have such a focus on the social ones because they're interesting to us.
Sure, yeah.
So, but it makes sense. Like there's so many animals out there that only come together to breed or, raise babies maybe, and then they like leave. But a lot of
Yeah.
times it's literally just for breeding, and then they go their separate ways.
Right.
So yeah, fascinating.
Very.
But this ranking within their clans is called rank inheritance. So they're literally inheriting their rank from their mom. Dad has very little to do with raising pups, and that's why I keep just saying mom. he's just hanging out. I don't know what he does. There's very little information on what the males do in these clans. They just kind of hang out, which is fine. Not everyone needs to be bickering all the time. So
Is it true that the highest ranking male is below the lowest ranking female?
yes, it is. Yeah. In spotted hyenas. So keep this in mind. All this is just about spotted hyenas.
Right.
The other ones have very different clan structures. But we always just say, oh, hyenas. It's never specified. Spotted hyenas. Hyenas are matriarchal. Hyenas are, blah, 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 blah. But it's always just spotted hyenas. It bothers me. And I got onto this website. It's called hyenaproject.com, hyena-project.com. And they gave 3 hypotheses for this rank inheritance. So why is this happening? Is it the genes of the mother that's determining this? Is it hormones? Or is it social support? And I think all 3 of those are like really good hypotheses. But they do single out one as being the most important. And which do you think that might be?
Say them again.
Genes, hormones, or social support?
Interesting. I'm gonna say not genes, crossing that one off. I'm gonna say social support, because that sounds different.
Yes, it does sound different, and it is the correct answer, or at least according to them. So the Hyena Project found that social support played by far the biggest role in this rank inheritance. And I mean, it makes sense. They are extremely social animals. They are constantly interacting with each other and picking and making sure that, they're staying where they need to be in the social ladder. And some really cool evidence just came out recently. It was a 2019 paper, and it was by people from the Hyena Project. And this paper looked at 21 years worth of interactions between clan members.
21 years?
21 years.
With the same clan?
With the same clan.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Wait, how do they know it's true for other clans too then?
Well, there's been other research looking at other clans. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is just like one specific paper looking at a specific clan.
Sure.
The Hyena Project is really interesting because they look at a group of clans like down inside of like a caldera, so like a kind of geographically isolated area, and they look at how these clans interact, and it's really cool. Like, I don't know, it's interesting that they have this group of animals that pretty much stay there and do the same thing every year and have the same food availability, because some hyenas do have very big ranges and will move and go after prey and follow prey as they migrate, but these hyenas do not.
Are you talking about these and those hyenas as in species or specific groups of
these
families?
Specific,
okay.
Yeah, these specific clans.
Okay.
Some spotted hyenas will move around more, but these ones do not. But 21 years worth of interactions for a total of 4,133 interactions.
I feel like there should be more documenting given that time frame.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they're probably not watching them all year round.
Okay.
And some years are better for watching than others. But yeah, it's still a lot, okay?
That's a lot. It's a lot.
And this was between 748 different hyenas.
Wow.
Yeah. Because spotted hyenas can live in very large clans of like up to 130 individuals.
And what's their lifespan?
About 13 years in the wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. I can't think of any other carnivores that come even close to that size of social groups. Like,
no, that is, in my mind, unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, meerkats, but does that
Yeah.
count? Like, I don't know. I know what you mean. Like big carnivores.
Yeah. But anyways, so it's a lot of hyenas, a lot of interactions, and they found that in clans that were heavily made up of like familiar females, so like mom and babies, and their sisters and their babies.
Related
Yes.
males. Okay.
With males that had immigrated in, the females almost completely dominated the males every single time in every single interaction. Those, newcomer males just could not stand up to the females ever.
Beautiful.
But in clans where there were very few immigrants, the outcomes of social interactions were split nearly 50-50 between females and males as far as who would win that interaction. So if it was males that they had known a long time and had been around for a long time, then they had a better chance of, winning these interactions.
Okay.
And so this premise kind of shapes hyena society. Males will usually leave their birth clan to find a mate. And when they do, they completely lose their social standing and all of their bonds that they've created in those first 3 or so years of life.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
So they're coming in at the bottom of the totem pole whenever they enter a new clan.
That's so interesting because everything's hierarchical.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Or based on your parentage and stuff. And if you lose your parentage, you've lost anything that you might have used to have any social standing.
Yep. And that's why if it's a male that's been in the pack for a long time, if his mom was a higher ranking female, he's also going to be a high ranking male.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. So that is way more important to hyenas than sex.
Yeah.
Biological sex as an identity, not the act.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And yeah, it's interesting. And that's why so often all males in the clan are going to be lower ranking than any of the females, is because they're new males coming in. It's extremely rare for males to stay in the clan. If they did stay in the clan, they would keep that high rank, but usually they're going to leave so that they can disperse and find females.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So it's not, otherwise it'd be total inbreeding. So that makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You almost have to from a biologic standpoint.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there ever a reason why a young female would disperse to a new clan?
If there was too many, if the clan was just getting too big, she might get pushed out by the clan, or she might just leave of her own accord because she's just like, I'm hungry, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, I gotta do something.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So, but a high-ranking female, there's no reason for her to ever leave because she's getting all the food and babies and everything else that she could ever possibly need.
Right.
So, but yeah, lower-ranking females might leave if they're having trouble getting enough food and things like that.
Cool. And they'd be in the same position as any male that left their own clan.
Yep. They'd start over at the bottom and then hopefully work their ways back up. But, and especially for males, generally the only time that they move up in rank is going to be when a higher male dies.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Poor
male
guys.
And the Hyena Project summed up this study super well. So I'm just going to read a quick quote.
Okay.
Spotted hyena females are often portrayed as archetypes of powerful and ferocious females. They are on average heavier than the males, have highly masculinized outer genitalia, which, like we talked about earlier, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but they have pseudopenises. Surprise if you didn't know that. And females usually occupy the highest position in this society. But according to the new study, it is not their manliness that allows them to dominate males. What is so fascinating is that it all works without any direct involvement of other hyenas. In the end, it's all about assertiveness and how confident a hyena is of receiving support if needed.
Oh, confident of receiving support.
Yeah. So it's not that the females are ganging up on each other. It's not that the females are ganging up on the males. It's just I know that I'm really cool and that I'm strong and awesome, and I'm gonna make sure that you know it too. They're just very confident. So many times I've read about hyenas and they're oh, the pseudopenis, and oh, they're big and strong and that's why they dominate the males. But no, it's literally just the social support and the bonds that they create with their sisters and their cubs that keep them, dominating for the most part over the males.
Nicole, you mean it's not the old patriarchal ideals of what makes someone a true and masculine leader, and it's not human ideals that we
Yeah.
are trying to prop up after centuries of learning that patriarchy needs to be abolished. It's not remnants of that.
Yeah, it's not the penis that gives them the power. It's just,
I don't know.
I know, it's wild.
It's a big penis.
It is.
And they're so strong.
I know.
Whoa.
I know. Might be a hard pill for you to swallow, but
I swallowed. I choked down that horse pill. Let's go. I was ready for it my whole life.
Amazing. I'm so glad.
All right, let's move on.
But yeah, like I think that's really cool. And I don't know, I just kind of bought into the narrative about, oh, they're bigger, so they're stronger, and therefore they dominate the males.
Yeah.
But that's not what it is at all.
That's so cool. And it's such a good reminder that as scientists, we've really got to look at like the data and really study things even if they seem obvious to us, because we're always biased by our human interpretations of things to, add meaning onto interactions that we see that isn't actually there. And in order to actually understand what's happening with an animal and its fully alien society, we have to look and like actually learn what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it takes 21 years of research to figure that out, and that's okay. But yeah.
Yeah. Is that the reputation bashing you're talking about? I feel like this makes me appreciate them more.
What do you want to know about?
Oh,
Shut up.
that
I was
spooked
not
me.
talking to you, people.
Suddenly a male voice.
Oh, God.
uh,
Did I just get interrupted by my Google
the
Meet?
audacity.
The audacity. Oh, my
Wow.
God. Only a man.
But yeah, I feel like the socialness of the animals and how important those social bonds is overlooked so much
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and admittedly, there are a lot of animals that do just beat each other up to get higher in the social rank. So, like, I get it. But not every animal is the same. And yeah, we
Yeah.
need to keep that in mind.
And it might be that a lot of those animals where we've seen behaviors like that, like that's not the full explanation of what's happening in those social
Yeah.
interactions. Like, it's so interesting to me still that the main predictor of a hyena, I don't know, a position in a hierarchy is just birth order. It's like literally who gave birth to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows what other kinds of elements like that are so hard to see visually,
Yeah.
that are feeding into the behaviors that we're able to witness.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So cool.
And despite their extremely social nature, spotted hyenas will often actually hunt alone or in like really, really small groups.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I found one paper that mentioned about 75% of hunts are actually conducted by lone hyenas.
Huh.
And whether they hunt alone or in a group, the success rate of the hunts don't really change that much. If they're hunting in a group, they will go after larger animals.
Okay.
Because yeah, you can do that if you're hunting with a group, and you can't do that when you're alone, so that makes sense. But all hyena hunts are about 33% successful, so like 1 in 3 hunts are successful. So they're not super great hunters, even though like recent PR is saying, oh, they're great hunters and blah blah blah. I mean, 1 in 3 isn't bad.
No, I don't
But-
think it's that different from other predators either, to be honest, but I'm not sure I know any stats to back that
Yeah,
up. I just feel like I've read stuff like that similarly.
Yeah, and it's a whole lot better than like cheetahs, which
Oh,
are like
God.
10% successful or something. Cheetahs are terrible hunters.
Aw.
They're amazing animals, but they're terrible hunters. But it's nothing like spotted dogs, painted dogs, hunting dogs, whatever you want to call them. Their hunting rate success is like 85%.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, they're wickedly successful. And I guess maybe that's kind of, I'm used to like those numbers, so maybe that's why I think that 1 in 3 isn't that good.
Okay.
It's still good, but like it's nothing like 85%. So.
Sure, yeah.
And then like dragonflies are 95% successful in their
Dragonflies
hunts.
are like, I don't know, extraplanar entities. Like they are way too cool to really be a fair comparison to anything.
I mean, fair, but I still like to bring them out because it's cool.
Okay. Are painted dogs in the same habitat as spotted hyenas? They would
are.
be, right? Okay.
Mhm. Yep, they are indeed. And there's actually been like observations of spotted hyenas following painted dog packs and like stealing their kills after they kill them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
First question, when a small group of hyenas or a lone hyena makes a kill, do other hyenas get to feed on that kill?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So once a kill is made, especially spotted hyenas are not quiet about it. They get very excited and they whoop and they holler and giggle and all those things, and the entire clan will come running and just feast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I was going to say, it would make sense to me if it was both true that the small group got to eat the kill and that they gorge themselves so heavily. Like maybe they need to not share with everybody in order to be full.
Yeah.
But no, that checks out too. So
I mean, that might be part of the reason why they do so many solo hunts is like if you take down that animal, you're still going to get first dibs just because no one else is nearby. But eventually other hyenas are going to, figure out that you killed something and they're going to come running. And then that's when that social hierarchy comes in. If you're at the lowest totem pole, even if you made that kill, you're still going to get butted out by, the lead hyenas.
Yeah.
So,
and if your groups of 100 hyenas are doing like solo hunts and 33% of them are effective, that's a lot of carcasses.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that. I was like, why do they do so many solo hunts? And I feel like that's a big part of it. Is like there's so many mouths to feed. Like they have to.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, do you know much about the way that they hunt? Because maybe their style of hunting is just more effective when there's not a group of them giving away positions or whatever. I'm not sure if it's like, oh, I'm here and I'm just going to chase you down type hunting, or like I'm going to stalk you and surprise you.
Yeah. So they mostly do endurance hunting where they'll just spook a herd of animals and then take down the weak ones. So they don't do a whole lot of stalking. There was one really fun video that I watched where there was a hyena going after a topee, which is a large antelope. I think they're like 100. No. Okay, so hyenas are like 120 pounds ish. Topies are about 240 pounds. So that's 108 kilograms versus 54 kilograms.
Wow.
Pretty decent size difference. But hyenas will regularly go after the topies. And in this video, the hyena was just kind of like trotting around, like looking at the topee, acting like he wasn't going to eat them. And then all of a sudden just like grabbed one. Like he was like 10 feet away from this animal and it was laying down.
Oh my
God.
God.
No idea that it was on the hunt. Like he was just like hanging out, like, ooh, I'm not doing anything. and then just grabbed him by the armpit and like held on until it died. Like,
jeez, that's intense.
It was gnarly.
Not even like the throat, the armpit.
No, it was the armpit. Well, that's like all they can reach. Like, because the topee is so, like literally the top of the hyena was like to the belly of the topee.
Oh wow,
like that's the size difference that we're talking about here. And this single hyena took it down. Ooh. Like a couple hyenas, like when it was already kind of dying, a couple other hyenas came over and like helped, but like it took it down by itself.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's impressive. And like just having the weight doesn't really put into scale like height differences and other like dimensions of what is happening in this picture. So that's even more impressive.
yeah, for sure. I was watching the video, I was like, there's no way he's gonna take that down. But he did. It was
you got your armpit, what you gonna do about it? Die.
Yes. But yeah, and then like the other hyenas, when they came in, they went for like the armpit and like the groin area too. Like none of them went for like the typical like cat kill, which is usually like throat or like nose and like
face,
head. Yeah. Like it was always like the armpit and like
Man, that's bizarre.
It was weird. And they do tend to start eating the animal before it's actually dead.
Yeah.
That's something they like to do. And I guess those regions of the animal's like bodies, like really thin skin. So I guess that's why they go for those areas.
That makes sense. It probably bleeds a lot too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like armpit isn't that far away from the heart, so.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not a prey animal.
Yeah. And hyenas, they're gnarly. And the spotted hyena in particular, like they're just, I hate to call any animal aggressive, but just the way that they hunt is aggressive.
Sure.
And they have been known to prey on humans. Yeah, there's been man killer hyenas that like took out like a couple dozen humans before they were able to put that animal down. Like they are a serious threat in some areas of Africa.
Oh,
But,
shoot.
yeah.
Is it the spotted hyena that has some relationships at times with towns and cities and villages where they'll like hang out in the village and like take bone scraps from people and they get like
Yeah.
very habituated to people?
Yeah,
Okay.
they will. And I've seen people have like pet spotted hyenas and things like that.
Ooh, that's scary.
It's very scary.
Sounds like the same energy as having a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
You're waiting for your face to get ripped off.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yikes.
Do not have a pet hyena, please.
I couldn't remember if I was picturing the wrong animal and it was actually painted dogs or something.
Sure.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
That's scary.
I mean, all hyenas are wicked smart. Like they know where food is easy to come by, and whether that's like in the middle of a town or if it's a farmer's field, they do sometimes go after farm animals too. Mostly the spotted hyena again, which is another reason why I think it's important to distinguish like what species exactly is doing this, because like the brown hyena, which we'll talk about next, it's near threatened. Like it's a rare animal. And if we're always pinning the blame on hyenas and not specifically the spotted hyena, it causes repercussions for some of the other ones that are just hanging out and not killing livestock or people.
It's pretty easy if you're in a position, I think, where you have something really valuable or precious to protect, to rather take the chance that it will do something and you need to take action versus taking a chance that could really impact your life or something you care about. So that it makes sense to me. And yeah, it's, I think, why it's so important to make sure.
No, yeah, I get being scared of hyenas. Like, that's very valid.
Yes. So let's just remember which hyenas to be scared of.
Yes. But yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Crunch.
Crunch, crunch. But enough about the spotted hyena.
Yeah, get out of here.
You're very cool, but get out of here. Let's talk about the brown hyena. Like I said, they are near threatened. They're fairly rare animals and they are declining for a whole host of reasons. But they are unique because they live in extremely arid, dry environments in Africa. So they live mostly in southern Africa, well, entirely in southern Africa. They have a very small range, the smallest of any of the hyena species.
Ooh, yeah, like what was the range on the spotted hyena?
So the spotted hyena lives like everywhere in Africa except southern Africa. Basically.
Okay. Cool.
They don't live in like the middle jungle part of Africa, but they live on both coasts and all across the northern half of Africa.
Okay.
They have a huge range.
Even in the Sahara? Or do they kind of skip that band?
I think they do. Probably not as much, but yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because you said the dry parts, and so I was picturing at least like the grasslands that border the Sahara that are really dry, arid grasslands. But no, it's just in the southern part of the continent.
Yeah. Brown hyenas have a very, very small range. And since they do live in such a dry, arid environment, their diet is quite a bit different than the other hyenas. So they actually eat
grass.
Is there a lot of hydration in grass? No, I'm okay.
Cactus.
Maybe, but mostly they eat fruit. Was what I was getting at.
For real?
Yeah,
okay, that was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah, they eat a lot of fruit. Like they still have like very similar dentition. Like they have canines, they have a lot of sharp teeth, but they eat a lot of fruit to get the water that they need.
Wow. Okay, I was legitimately not expecting that. I think it was the notion that felines are obligate carnivores.
Yeah,
that probably was clouding that judgment there. I was expecting them to be like fox-like diets.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun.
And I had no idea about that before I started researching this. Like I knew brown hyenas existed, and I knew that they were fairly rare, but I did not know that they ate so much fruit.
Like what percentage of their diet is it? Is it like a seasonal thing or?
I don't know. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find like exact numbers. I'm sure they exist somewhere. But yeah, it is like every paper and like article that I read said it was a significant portion of their diet.
Okay.
So take that for what you will.
Yeah.
But it was not mentioned in any of the other species that they even ate fruit. So.
Wow.
They are very hardy survivors, and one study in the Kalahari Desert showed that 86% of cubs will reach 15 months old, which is pretty good for carnivores. It's hard to feed babies, and they die. So.
That's a significant survival rate, because that would be like old enough to be weaned at least.
Yes, yeah.
And to have a few months under your belt as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that's kind of interesting is that like this very, very high survival rate is at least partially due to the fact that all the females in the clan will take care of each other's babies. They'll nurse each other's babies. They'll bring back food for each other's babies. That does not happen with spotted hyenas.
Okay.
They feed their own kids. They only have 2 pups. They feed just theirs. And, whatever happens to the other ones, who knows? But not so with the brown hyena. They're very cooperative.
When you say they feed the others, you mean like they will let other cubs suckle on them and not just bringing them food or something?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they will suckle other cubs. They do prioritize their own,
Okay.
but they will suckle other cubs.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
Yeah. And I feel like that's fairly rare in at least carnivores because, even lions, there's always the nanny lion, but she's not nursing all of those cubs. She just kind of makes sure they don't fall off a cliff and die. She's not feeding them.
Sure, yeah.
So pretty unique. Yeah, the nursing time frame is very similar. They nurse until the pups are about a year old, but they do have that cooperative care.
Yeah.
They also live in much smaller clans, which is probably just due to the fact that there's not a lot of food to go around. They can't have clans that are 130 strong because there's not enough food.
And also because they're threatened.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That
That's
too.
not the reason.
But yeah, the max size is going to be maybe 10, 12 individuals.
Okay.
Usually it's mom, dad, and their cubs. They don't get super big.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like that's probably better for a threatened species because it means you're not going to lose as significant a portion of your population if something terrible happens to one clan.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And they do have larger litters than the spotted hyenas, which kind of surprised me. 'Cause usually if you're in a harsh environment, you have smaller litters, focus on them. But they can have litters up to 5 pups versus the spotted hyenas 2.
That's also really interesting because they have such a high infant survival rate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would also expect in that scenario for, it to be a matter of, well, we have to make sure at least one survives, but so many of them are surviving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's impressive.
Huh.
They've really figured out how to deal with this really dry environment very, very well.
Berries, man.
Yeah. And the brown hyena, unlike the spotted hyena, which primarily hunts its own food, I say primarily in very heavy air quotes.
I was going to say,
because
hear it. She did it.
The spotted hyena, I saw one paper that was 54% of their food is their own kills. I'm like, yeah, that's technically most, but like barely.
Okay, come on.
But the brown hyena has no shame. It's mostly a scavenger, but it will take down like really small prey because this is a much smaller hyena.
Of course. I was just going to point out that the spotted hyena also has no shame. We're the ones as humans that are putting shame onto this animal that it does not have naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're right. But it just cracks me up. Like, there's, again, so much good PR for the spotted hyena.
Yeah.
They do most of their own kills. And it's like, yeah, 54% is most, but like, come on.
Yeah.
It's not that impressive.
It's not that impressive.
It's whatever.
So what's wrong with scavenging?
Yeah.
So efficient.
Any self-respecting carnivore will scavenge.
Yeah. Take that, Ben Franklin. If you know, you know.
Yes. And I found a really just bizarre, out of context fun fact about the brown hyena. I don't know how true it is. It was just on the brown hyena Wikipedia page. There's no shame in using Wikipedia. But it was from the book The Velvet Claw by David MacDonald. And he mentions, quote, "Young animals can crack the leg bones of springboks within 5 minutes of birth." And I don't know why it's specifically within 5 minutes, why it's springbok, or why it's specifically mentioned brown hyenas.
Yeah.
Can the other ones do this? I have no idea. I tried to look up more information about this book. I couldn't find anything.
Wow.
Grain of salt.
I just want to know whether somebody like took a fresh out the oven hyena and like stuck a bone in its mouth, like, all right, kiddo, it's your moment. We got to test this theory.
Yeah, right? And it's like, I mean, yeah, I have no idea. If it was just like a one-off observation, like there was like a bone laying around and the pup just like chewed on it and broke it, I have no idea. Like, where did this come from? Is it just based off of like the bite strength of a baby, like a pup? I have no idea.
But how is that absurd? You know, I'm going to choose to believe it because I think it's delightful and it seems like it could be true. They do at least have teeth, so
I mean, they do.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
I'm sure this guy has a good reason to think what he thinks.
Yeah.
It's not an outlandish theory.
It's not. But it was just like thrown randomly into the Wikipedia page. Just like this one, that was the only thing that was mentioned. That one sentence that I read is, I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, that's the brown hyena. Apparently they're just raring to go out the oven.
The Velvet Claw.
The Velvet Claw.
Okay.
Which is a very good book name.
It's a very good book name. I want to see if I can find it.
Yes.
Maybe it's on Libby.
I tried. It's
You
not.
did? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I tried Libby and I tried even the local Wichita library. I was going to check it out and read this book because
Oh
it
my
sounds
God.
fascinating. But yeah, and it's from like 1980s or something.
Oh, shit.
It's a little bit older, but
It's not that old, though. It's more recent than I was picturing.
yeah.
I'll see if it's on ZLib. If it's on the Z Library Project.
Yes. But yeah, that's the brown hyena. They're very cute. I love their like just aesthetic. Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. I like that the bear-looking hyena is the one that also has like a bearish diet.
Yeah.
Sort of.
The next is the striped hyena.
Stripey.
They got stripes. They're not like, they look a lot like the spotted hyena, but they have stripes and they're a little bit fluffier.
Fluffy. Yes. Okay. Okay.
And it is also very notably primarily a scavenger.
Okay.
They live in northern Africa, like most of northern Africa, and well into the Middle East and even into most of India.
Interesting.
So again, a very wide range.
Okay.
These guys live primarily alone or in pairs, much like the brown hyena, but like even like it's primarily alone or in pairs. The brown hyena will occasionally have like, pups from last year or like a random, male that wanders in, but striped, it's alone or in pairs.
Interesting. I thought you said the brown hyena could live in groups of up to 10. Is
Yeah,
that
like
always related
10-ish.
individuals? Or
It's not always related with the brown hyena, but a lot of times it is. It's mom and like pups from last year and pups from this year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Males don't stick around?
they will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Just kind of depends on the individual group, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
The social aspect of these last three hyena species is like, I wouldn't say debated, but it's still being found out. Like there's
Okay.
a lot of really recent research that kind of debunks some older stuff.
Okay.
So it's all pretty fluid.
Cool.
And the striped hyenas cubs are born with closed eyes like the brown hyenas, but notably they are weaned after just 2 months.
Whoa. Okay.
So they get them going quick.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know why it's so much shorter than the other species. I couldn't find anything about it. But
Just different. I mean, they're all in
Yeah.
different genera, so
yeah.
it makes sense that there would be random, very big differences that seem to have no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, for sure. And striped hyenas have a lot of overlap in their range with wolves and are often direct competitors. They can and will chase wolves off of a kill, despite being quite a bit smaller than wolves. And they will, at the very least, scavenge the bones after the wolves are done, because wolves don't just eat bones like hyenas do. And this relationship is not unlike some of the, African hyenas' relationships with things like lions, painted dogs, and even leopards. But what is unique with this relationship is that there has been a single documented case of a single hyena seemingly integrating like completely with a wolf pack.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
That is cool.
I mean, whether or not it's happened multiple times, it's hard to say because these are very reclusive animals. Again, they live alone and they live in, parts of the world that are kind of hard to get to. So, I mean, we've seen it once. It's probably happened at least more than once.
Yeah.
But in 1994, a group of researchers found wolf tracks with a set of hyena tracks just kind of mixed in. And again, it's not unusual for the hyenas to follow the wolves and then, beat them off their kill or eat their scraps. So at first, that's what they thought was happening. But when they started looking at the tracks closer, they realized that sometimes the wolf prints were on top, sometimes the hyena prints were on top. So that implied that, this hyena was actually moving through the pack. It wasn't until 3 years later that they actually saw the animals moving together and the hyena literally just comfortable as can be hanging out with these wolves.
Wow.
Yeah. And I want to say, I didn't write it down, but they literally, again, 3 years later, and they saw this weird pack for 7 minutes. And that's all they got to see of them. And they disappeared into the trees.
Oh my gosh.
So wild.
Oh, that's so cool. It's I wonder how many other things like that are happening that we just don't have the fortune of crossing paths with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so weird. What a weird, yeah, because the hyena's not getting anything except for food. Obviously it can't mate with the wolves. And yeah, it's just one single hyena. It's not like a pair or anything like that.
I want to know his origin story.
Yeah,
or
right?
hers. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't say if it was a male or a female, or if it did, I did not notice. But
okay,
yeah,
huh.
Pretty strange.
Yeah.
If you search wolf with hyena pack, something along those lines, you'll find dozens of headlines about this story, and they're all a little bit misleading, and it'll say wolves hang out with hyenas and stuff like that, implying that it's something that happens a lot, but this is literally something that's been witnessed once.
Sure, yeah.
Not to say that it hasn't happened more than that, but it's only been witnessed once. So,
right.
But it is cool. And finally, my favorite, the little aardwolf. He's so cute. He's not a wolf. He's not a dog at all. He's a cat. But, we like naming things confusingly. So, and I already mentioned this earlier, but they are extremely different from the other hyenas. Not only in size, they're only 30 pounds max.
Oh my God.
But they are the last descendant of the dog-like hyenas. And they're much more agile, much more slender. And it's their diet that has really helped them thrive, where its ancestors could not, because it loves bugs and it primarily eats termites.
Oh my God, there's so many of those.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And that they have a super long tongue. I couldn't find exactly how long it was for some reason. People love to tell people how long animal tongues are, but I could not find a number on the aardwolf. I don't know why.
It's so disappointing.
It is. It really is.
Some zoo out there has to know. Come on, give it to us.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, it's long and sticky and gross, and they don't actually tear apart termite mounds like we think of other termite eaters doing. They just kind of lap them off the ground.
Aww.
And they can eat something 200,000 termites a day or something crazy like that. So
that's too many termites.
It's so many.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Right? Yeah. But they'll eat other small prey items, but primarily they're eating termites.
Wow.
So, yeah. And they live in social but not sexually monogamous pairs and raise their cubs together. So again, very, very small groups, but it is the mom and dad both helping. Mm-hmm. Unlike with the spotted hyenas, where it's primarily just the mother doing all the work. Mm-hmm. Since they are so small, they very rarely pick fights. If, two aardwolves come across each other, they'll probably just be like, oh, sorry, and just leave. They don't fight each other ever. And they will sometimes if there's really good foraging ground, like unrelated individuals will just kind of forage, not beside each other, but like within eyesight of each other. So they're not territorial hardly at all.
Okay.
As long as there's lots of food around. If there's not a lot of food around, obviously they're going to defend a food source. But for the most part, they bluff a lot. So these guys have an amazing mane of hair that will stand straight up and makes them like I want to say it's like 12 inches long. And on an animal that's this small, like it's pretty significant.
Yeah.
And it stands completely straight up, and they will bark and whine and act dramatic. And they even will secrete a really gross smelling paste to smell bad and just bluff their way out of encounters.
I've definitely heard of the odor component. Did not know it was a paste, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is actually a question. Where do they excrete it out of? Is it like from their mouth or their anus?
So it's from their anus. Well, their anal glands.
You're making a very fun face right now.
I have a whole section on it.
Oh my god!
So it has a really fun name. It's called hyena butter.
Oh god! Why? Why would researchers do this? Not researchers, probably. It's probably just people. Why would people do this?
Yeah. So it's called hyena butter.
I hate it. Stop saying that.
And the best part about this is that even though aardwolves are, for some reason, singled out as like doing this as like a defense mechanism, all of the hyenas have hyena butter.
Oh,
and will use it to like mark their territory primarily.
Not to season their meat.
No, I don't think so.
I'm very sorry that came out of my mouth.
Me too. But yeah, it's nasty. It smells bad. Apparently it's like black and white. Like it has a color to it. It's not just the odor. It has like a distinct color to it, which disturbs me for some reason.
Black and white? Is it like marbled? What does that mean?
I honestly don't know. With the aardwolves, they specifically mentioned that like whenever they mark like a blade of grass, like I think it's the black part of the paste is always like above the white part of the paste.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I was kind of like grossing myself out, so I didn't dive into it too deep. I don't know. It's very, very strange.
Listen, Nicole, if you're going to go there, you have to go all the way. That's kind of unacceptable.
I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't know why it's those colors, and I don't know if the different colors, if all 4 species have the black and the white paste, but it seems like they can like kind of choose to secrete either the black or the white or both of them. I don't understand how it works. Also, something really gross I found out. I can't remember which species it was. It might have been the aardwolves, but I hope it wasn't. When they're secreting this paste, they can extend their anus like 6 inches and just kind of kiss it onto vegetation.
6 inches?
Yes.
They can prolapse their anus into an outie anus to kiss their hyena butter onto stuff.
Yeah. It might have been like 4 inches, but 4 to 6, somewhere in there. I saw a picture. It was very disturbing.
I think I'm beginning to understand why you didn't dive deeper.
Once I saw the picture, I was like, okay, I'm done. I need to move on to something else.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm speechless.
Me too.
Is this what you were telling Becky about last night?
I didn't tell her about hyena butter.
It's not even the hyena butter at this point. It's the telescoping outie prolapsing of the anus.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's all I got about aardwolves.
Is it like a specific pouch that's like built for that? Is it like a specific portion of their coat? Is it part of their rectum? I don't
know, man. I don't know how it works.
Every single hyena has this.
Yeah.
That is a basal trait. Do civets do that?
Yeah, civets do mark, yes. I don't think it's quite as disturbing, but they have more of a paste versus like other cats. Like jaguars will spray, but like it's a spray, like it's
right.
liquid. But no, yeah, civets do have a paste.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That goes deep.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow, that's honestly very cool.
Yeah.
I like that they have their own built-in marking system that's both visual and odorous. Also, very cool note that it's black and white because those are very contrasting colors that stand out really well for mammals that don't see the full color spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's wild.
Jesus.
But yeah.
Oh, man. Thanks. Hey, I just have like I'm just trying to put it into perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's smelly. As a human, how close would I have to be to begin to get a whiff of it?
Sources say meters. I don't know how many meters.
Okay.
But meters.
Cool.
But yeah, it's quite odorous. And yeah. That's all I got about those guys.
The aardwolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
They eat bugs. They're real cute. They're small.
And they're dog-like hyenas.
Yeah. That's the coolest part about them is like
Yeah.
they're that last of that really basal form of hyenas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of taxonomy and evolution and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I'm aware.
So I'm biased. But that is something we look for when we're looking at conservation and biodiversity because it is, if you have to prioritize protections, you want to protect something that's going to be that rare.
Yeah.
So they got weirdly nihilistic, I think, there at the end. Is that nihilism?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know anymore.
I don't know anymore either. My brain is floating in the extraplanar space that dragonflies come from.
Amazing. It must be a beautiful place there.
I'm sure it looks very different to their eyes as well. Imagine if we could see it through their eyes.
Oh my god. I would totally take bug eyes for a day just to see what they see,
Yeah. I think I would too, but I would not take being a bug because the risk of death would be too high.
It's extremely high. Oh gosh. But yeah, enough about bugs. This isn't a bug episode.
Oh, yeah, Nicole.
I try my best. Yeah, so the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was, the thing that we teased at the beginning. What's going on with spotted hyena genitalia? Is
that only spotted hyenas?
It is only spotted hyenas, which is another thing.
Yeah.
We always talk about hyenas have pseudopenises. No, only the spotted hyena has it.
See, I was going to ask this earlier, but I decided to hold it in because I knew we would get there eventually.
Yeah.
Especially when we were talking about do the males stick around in this species, etc. And it's like, well, what are the traits in their genitalia here? Because I don't know. We humans like to put so much weight on penises for some reason. I don't know why society that used to be ruled by men, or still is, in some ways, would place so much emphasis on penises.
The spotted hyena pseudopenis is a very unique organ. There's a lot going on here with the reproductive tract in general.
Birth canal, clitoris. What else? Umbilical cord. Just kidding.
Good job. I mean, that's actually important.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really? So for the babies or the adults? Oh, no. Your face.
I was telling our poor friend Becky all of this last night, and she was like, how have they survived? And I was like, I don't know. And yet they're the most numerous hyena species. They have the widest range. They do very well, but they're so bad at giving birth. And a lot of it is because of this pseudopenis. So the pseudopenis is an enlarged clitoris. It's 6 inches long, 6.5 inches long, which is the same size as a male's penis. They also have pseudoballs, which is crazy. You literally, if you are looking at a spotted hyena, it's hard to tell if it's a male or a female because the genitalia look almost identical. And it causes so many problems for the females, especially when it comes to giving birth. And I tried to search, if it causes so many problems, why do they have it?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find any really good answers.
Okay.
If you've never seen a video of a spotted hyena giving birth, It is something to behold. It is wild. So there's this really great book called Wild Sex, The Science Behind Mating in the Animal Kingdom by Karen Bondar. It's an amazing book. It's very, very good. And I read like a whole excerpt about spotted hyenas. And I just want to throw a couple quotes at you real quick.
All right, I'm ready.
So they give birth to 1 to 1.5 kilogram, 3-pound babies.
Okay.
Which is very large for carnivores.
Okay.
Through the penile clitoris. The birth canal is approximately 2.5 centimeters in diameter, and females often experience severe tearing.
Mm-hmm.
The rate of female mortality during childbirth is abnormally high for first-time mothers. The news isn't all that much better for the babies, who often separate from the placenta, get caught in the birth canal, and die from anoxia, which is lack of oxygen.
Suffocation.
Yeah.
Just suffocating inside that big penile clitoris.
Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah. So a 3-pound baby through a 2.5 centimeter opening.
Okay, but like what's the diameter of a baby hyena head?
Much more than 2.5 centimeters.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, that is so... Ugh.
Yeah, and like it went on to talk about like it always tears for first-time mothers. Like it always tears. Human females, when they give birth, like you have tearing sometimes. It's not every time.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as intense as with the hyenas. Again, if you watch a video, very disturbing. I don't know that I necessarily recommend it.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating. Just proceed with caution. And later they mention it's easy to determine the sex of a post-reproductive adult female through her torn penile clitoris and pulled nipples.
Oh, God.
Like, the best way to tell an adult female hyena is post-birth because everything's destroyed.
Jesus Christ.
It's the easiest way to tell the sexes apart.
Does that burst penile clitoris never heal back together?
Not fully.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That first time, it just gets destroyed.
Oh, fuck.
All...
This is so uncomfortable.
Rachel just winced so hard.
Oh, yikes.
So yeah, it gets destroyed the first time. Subsequent litters are much easier for the female.
Well, yeah,
In
because
fact,
the birth canal is destroyed. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was described, subsequent litters were described as uneventful. Thanks to all the tearing from the first litter. Yeah. Luckily their litter sizes are so small. Maybe that's part of the reason why they're so small.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a great point. Wait, are all the other hyena species? I don't think we talked about litter size, did we? Are they all larger?
They are larger. I can't remember the aardwolf litter size, but like the brown hyenas, they can have 5. I think striped hyenas is somewhere around 5 on average. So yeah, they do have larger litters. Not significantly larger, but larger.
Okay. I just want you to know that I am picturing, like in cartoons when like, I don't know, Elmer Fudd points his gun at a rabbit and the rabbit sticks his carrot in the gun and then it blows up and the gun turns into like 4 curling pieces that explode backwards. That's what I'm picturing.
That's kind of literally what happens. Golly. Like as a baby is entering the birth canal, which again is a clitoris.
This is not right.
It like expands. Like it literally looks like right before the gun explodes with the finger in it, when it like whoomp and like it expands. That's what her pseudopenis looks like during birth. It's disturbing. Anyways,
so interesting.
Yeah, so it is estimated that almost 10% of first-time mothers die in childbirth.
10% seems very small for what happens to them.
Yeah.
That seems like it should be higher, if I'm being honest. Oh, wow.
That's fair. And the first litter has a mortality rate of about 60%.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. There's
It's
where the
real
bad
bad.
part is. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the mothers make it through, but the babies are not so lucky. Yikes.
And so their umbilical cord, because you mentioned that earlier, the umbilical cord is fairly short compared to the length of the birth canal.
Oh.
So the umbilical cord will detach before the baby is completely outside of the mother.
Oh.
And that's where that anoxia comes
Okay.
in and all these other birth complications.
I see. Okay.
So, yeah.
Shoot. And if you've got your birth canal split into an Elmer Fudd gun, then like, I mean, you're also reducing that risk too of the umbilical cord detaching before it can reach like an opening.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that's bad.
Yep. Another fun fact about spotted hyena anatomy is their, I don't know how to describe it. the like a typical mammal birth canal is like a straight line. It just just pops on out.
Sure.
Not so with spotted hyenas.
What the hell is it? Is it a corkscrew?
No.
Okay, thank God.
The spotted hyena birth canal makes like a 180-degree turn.
Why?
When it reaches the pelvis. So, baby's cooking in mama's tummy, starts to come down the pelvis, and then it makes a 180-degree turn so that it can come out the pseudopenis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like right up there with like the weird giraffe aortic artery or whatever it is sort of situation where it's like if somebody was like building a blueprint of how you should build a mechanical giraffe, you would never do that to the animal.
No, never.
Poor hyenas.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of birth complications. Don't know how they still survive. Our poor friend was, I think she canceled hyenas. It was her verbiage.
Our friend?
Becky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was like, did we have a friend who researched them?
No.
What is it? Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got lost in everything that happened. I forgot that you were telling all of this to our poor non-biologist friend.
Yep.
My God.
Despite all of these complications, there's still some reason to have a pseudopenis.
Yeah. You didn't come across any hypotheses or anything?
I have a couple.
Okay, I was going to say, I've definitely come across a few because I've done at least a little bit of research at some point.
Yeah, so there's a couple hypotheses as to why they still have these weird pseudopenises. And it could just be as simple as the females having extremely high amounts of testosterone and androgens, which are, typically higher in males. And so during development, they develop a pseudopenis.
It is very weird that the birth canal would be tied into that development, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's extremely weird because that is also like, in case you didn't know, it's not normal to give birth through your clit. It's also not normal to pee through your clit. But they do all of that through their pseudopenis. Yeah. Like pee, birth, everything. Like, yeah, mating is also done through the pseudopenis.
I guess I don't know, like ontologically, like in the embryo development, how those different tracts become like developmentally all tied together into one tract, like in a penis, or, into just separate tracts, like in a set of female genitalia. Yeah. So like maybe it's not that complicated. And it's just like a matter of the genes switching on at a different place in the development. Yeah. That could be actually very simple.
Yeah. I think that is like a big part of it. But there are also some like social aspects, like benefits, I guess, to having the pseudopenis. It's not to beat up on the males like we've been told in the past. But there's a lot of social communication that does happen through like genital licking and sniffing, and having the genitals exposed makes that all easier to do. Okay. So valid hypothesis.
Sure. I mean, social structure is incredibly important to them.
Mm-hmm. And one other theory that I came across, which was a little out there, but like, okay, was that by having the females and the males look very similar, especially as infants, it can increase their chances of surviving.
Yeah.
Infanticide, or well, specifically siblicide, so killing your sibling, is extremely common in hyenas.
Okay.
They come out of the womb with teeth. They are ready to fight, and they do fight all the time.
And they can snap bones.
Yes.
In 5 minutes, apparently.
Yes. So it would make sense that you would try to get rid of a female, like a sister, versus a brother if you had the choice to do so, to eliminate some of that competition, because it's the females, again, that are going to be higher ranking, and if you can get rid of your sister, now you're head hyena under your mom.
Mm-hmm.
So if the males and the females look very similar, maybe that helps with that.
Yeah. That actually does not sound that out there to me. That is the theory that I've come across before. I didn't realize the siblicide was specifically an issue, so that makes even more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you think about it, especially in how detrimental it is to them in adulthood, the fact that it's potentially such a benefit to them in infancy, even though it causes so many problems as they develop. And, the other reasons that you cited, like the genitalia being more visible and available for social cues and stuff, like how much of that really matters when your entire birth canal is burst apart for most of your life? Like probably not as important, or at least not like enough to have like that kind of selective pressure, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So that it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's wild. Again, as someone with a clit, I don't know if I approve.
It doesn't matter what you think.
That's fair.
It's not your body. And I think if you were a hyena, you would think it's maybe not great, but you would probably enjoy being the creature you are and would be very confident in yourself and your pseudo penis clit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wild. And another really beneficial reason to have a pseudopenis is that it allows the females complete reproductive control over the situation.
Oh yeah.
Males cannot forcefully copulate with females. She's in complete control.
Yeah, because I don't know if I don't see a reason why we wouldn't talk about like the act of intercourse in this podcast, in this scenario especially. But they do invert their pseudopenis in order to have sex. Yeah. So, that is probably a really important element of them maintaining such control socially.
Yeah, 100%. And not only can they invert it, but they do get boners. So, in case anybody was wondering.
I have a feeling like if they're like interested in copulation, so they're really feeling it, the boner is not the reaction they're having, though. It's like the inversion. So what does a boner mean then? Is it just like aggression or like confidence?
It can be aggression. It's mostly in those social situations where they're saying, hey, I'm top hyena, not you.
Okay,
so
cool.
Yeah,
what a neat animal.
Very.
See, there's a couple of very good reasons there, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how does having it burst apart change how you're able to like invert it?
I don't know, man.
Physiologically.
I don't think it like literally like ribbons up. It's just like the end that, bursts.
Only the end?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, but I was picturing like at least in some of them, like maybe like a seam opening up in the middle of it, and then like from then on they all just like pop out halfway through like a tracheotomy, like
no. I mean, it was just mentioned as severe tearing, so I don't know the extent of it. I didn't really look up pictures.
Yeah,
so.
and like it's hard enough to find. I've looked up videos of the birds before. I feel like that's hard enough to find, let alone like pictures of mutilated. Yeah. And that's like such a weird thing to try or want to look up anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's some zoo workers out there who have very close encounters with these animals, who have cell phone reels full of very disturbing imagery.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe they would feel obliged to share with folks at some point to give us a full picture.
Share with the class, please.
Man.
But yeah, that's hyenas.
It's rare that I feel grateful to be a human woman in the birth and reproductive side of things. I am, in this moment, grateful to be a human woman with human woman reproduction.
Yes. Agreed.
Oh, man.
there's so much misinformation around hyenas out there. Hopefully I helped set the record straight at least a little bit. They are extremely important in the ecosystems that they live in, especially as, yes, scavengers. Like, we keep trying to talk them up as, amazing hunters, but it's the scavenging part of their lifestyle that is so important because they eat absolutely every part of the body.
Yeah.
They eat all the bones, all the skin, everything. And it's okay to appreciate them as being rowdy, dirty, stinky little gremlins. Like, it's okay. Like, we should celebrate those parts of them.
Celebrate them for who they truly are.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to talk them up. They're cool just as they are. I love them.
I think that they're neat.
Beautiful.
Thank you. They're very good. Well, thank you, Nicole, and thank you, listeners, for enduring this with us.
Enduring. Rude.
I am just left with this feeling of, wow, I cringed a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, and not in a bad way. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, anyway. The Best Biome is produced by us through our nonprofit, Grassland Groupies. We are dedicated to inspiring the conservation of grasslands. In our show notes below, you can find our website, phone number, social media accounts, etc. So text, call, or tweet your suggestions at us. Also, fan mail or hate mail, whatever. If you enjoyed the show and want to support us, tell your friends about us and leave a review on Podchaser or Apple Podcasts. We really couldn't do this without your support. So that's it. And guess we'll be back in a couple of weeks. So see you later. Are you on any D&D subreddits?
Yes.
There's a lot of discourse going around right now on gnolls because they're based on hyenas.
Oh no.
I think it would add to your life if you chimed in on those discussions.
Fantastic.
That's all I have to say.
You think I can resist?
No.
I learned so much about hyena anatomy.